Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Full Bottle Worthy. Today I'm going to be sharing 35 rose perfumes from my collection. Rose is my favorite floral note, and I'm so excited to share with you all of the rose perfumes I have in my collection. And I truly have something for everybody. I have fruity roses, I have powdery roses, I have rose patchoulis, I have rose vanillas, and I have rose ouds. Anything you could want, I will offer in this video. And please remember to give this video a big thumbs up and to subscribe to support the channel. Let's dive in. We're going to start where it all began with Santa Maria Novella's Rosa. I purchased this bottle back in 2011. It was my first niche purchase, and it happened to be a rose. So from the jump, I've loved rose. It's been many, many years. This is an eau de cologne concentration. I find it lasts about 4 to 5 hours on my skin. This house, Santa Maria Novella, was established in 1612 by monks in Florence. I love this fragrance. I would call it a rose soliflor, even though there's other notes within the composition. To me, this is a bright, early spring rose. I imagine it being a pale pink. Again, this is Santa Maria Novella's Rosa. Next, we have Pink Me Up. This is a gorgeous composition with rose, blackberry, and champagne. It's incredibly effervescent, light and bright and uplifting. I like to wear this in warmer weather, and I find the longevity is pretty good on this. I get 6 to 7 hours with a stronger projection. Again, this is Pink Me Up. Next, we have Cherie by Guerlain. This is part of their arts and materials line. This is a beautiful rose, almond, and raspberry composition. It's a very bright rose. It's a very uplifting rose. I find it lasts 4 to 5 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. Within the literature on Guerlain's website, it is said that this perfume was inspired by La Vie Rose, or Life in Pink, which is the way you feel when you're in love. And I have to agree with that. There's an uplifting quality to this. There's a brightness to this. It just makes everything a little bit better. Again, this is Cherie by Guerlain. Next, we have Delina La Rosee. This is a beautiful composition with watery notes, peony, rose, lychee, and pear. Now, don't let the watery notes fool you. This is going to last 10 hours on your skin with a strong projection. This is a fragrance I grab for when it's very hot outside. I absolutely love this. It's probably my favorite out of the three. The original, the exclusive, and then there's La Rosee, which is probably my favorite. Next we have Dom Rosa by Liquid Imaginaries. This is a beautiful pomelo, rose, and champagne composition. Pomelo is a part of the grapefruit family. So there is a brightness to the opening of this fragrance from that, as well as the champagne note. There's an effervescence, there's a lightness. Then there's also an acidity as well from those two notes. I find that I like to wear this in the spring on maybe a low 70-degree day. It's perfect for the daytime. You could also wear it at night, something a little bit more casual if you wanted. I find it lasts 6 to 7 hours on my skin with a moderate to strong projection. Next we have Allure by Chanel. Now on Fragrantica, there is a different list of notes than I will provide you. I went directly to Chanel's website to get these notes, and what it says is up at the top there's a mandarin orange, there's a rose de mai, and then there's vanilla in the base. I smell a little bit of peach in this, but that is not listed on their website. This is an expertly blended fragrance, and it is quintessential Chanel. If you know Chanel fragrances, this will smell like it to you. I think this is a grown woman's perfume. I don't see women in their 20s, unless they're on the mature side, wearing a fragrance like this. This is a perfume myself that I recently was attracted to. I find it lasts 8 to 9 hours on my skin with a moderate to strong projection. Next, we have Delina Exclusif. Now, in this composition, we have lychee, pear, rose, a little bit of incense, and vanilla in the dry down. It's going to last 10 to 12 hours on your skin with a stronger projection. I do like to wear this in moderate to cool weather, and it does work day and night. She's well known for a reason. It is a very beautiful fragrance. Again, Delina Exclusif. Next, we have Club de Nuit's Imperiale. Now, this is said to be a dupe of Delina Exclusive. We just spoke about Delina Exclusive, and yes, while this one is similar, I will tell you that this is a lot more musky. So it's sort of a rose musk composition with a little bit of lychee in the background. I purchased this before I purchased Delina Exclusive. I didn't think I was going to purchase it. You can find this for about $30. I find it lasts about 6, 7, 8 hours on my skin with a moderate to strong projection. I do find this formula to be a little scratchy to my nose. That could be just me. You might not have that experience. Next, we have Le Gris by Perfumes de Empire. This is the epitome of elegance. This is going to open with the powdery note of iris as well as some aldehydes. And then as it begins to dry down, the rose is going to come forward. I find this to be perfect for a day at the office. This fragrance reminds me of a perfectly ironed button-up white shirt. It is crisp, it is clean, it is elegant. This has a stronger to moderate projection on it, and it tends to last 8 hours on my skin. Next, I have her Midnight Rose Musk, which is a dupe for Narciso Rodriguez's Rose Noir Musk. Now, the reason that I was interested in purchasing this rather than the original is I've heard that the original does not last very long, about 3-4 hours. And Dua makes all their formulations in Extrait de Parfums. So while the projection might be on the more moderate side, the longevity is going to be there. And I do find that this fragrance does last longer than 3 to 4 hours on me. I would say I get a good 6 to 7 hours out of this. If you're not familiar with this fragrance, there is plum up at the top, rose in the mid, and vanilla in the base. This is quite a sweet rose. I am happy with this purchase, and I don't think I'll be purchasing the original. Next, we have Mon Parfum Pearl by Micallef. This is a gorgeous powdery rose. It is so elegant and refined. I love to wear this in the transitional seasons, and I find it works for day and night, for going out to dinner or being at the office. It just works for any situation. It's perfectly elegant and pulled together. It lasts about 7-8 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. Next, we have Etoile Nuit by Goutal. This is a gorgeous iris with rose and raspberry up at the top. This is expertly blended. It's very hard to pick out the notes within this composition, and it's incredibly elegant. I love to wear this on cooler days. I find it lasts probably 7-8 hours on my skin with a moderate to strong projection. Next, we have Nanshe by Nishane. There are many notes in the pyramid here, but what I smell is rose, orris, and sandalwood. This is a beautiful composition that I think if you like Oud Satin Mood by Francis Kurkdjian, you will like this as well. Now, this is more the daytime version, where Oud Satin Mood is more the fancy evening version. Now there, of course, is differences. This is not as sweet as Oud Satin Mood. There isn't oud in this composition either, but there are some similarities. I find that this lasts about 8 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. I love to wear this when it's moderate outside in the transitional season. Next, we have Atomic Rose. Now, this is an Atomic Rose. I find that there's a green quality to this rose, a slight sharpness. However, when I visualize the rose within this composition, I visualize a very, very deep, dark rose. There is some hedione in this composition, which gives it an aphrodisiac quality. I find this lasts 8 to 10 hours on my skin with a moderate to strong projection. Next, we have 1876 by Histories de Parfums. This is a very special fragrance. It is inspired by the Victorian age. And within the Victorian age, they were known for drying roses, either, between books or hanging them upside down. And I actually have dried roses before, so I know the smell of them. And this fragrance smells exactly like dried roses. The main players in this composition are carnation and rose. However, to me, this smells like a dusty rose. It is very deep. It is very dark. This is going to last you 8 hours on the skin. I personally only spray it once because I think it's so strong. And I don't think that this fragrance is going to be for everybody. It's really going to be for those people who appreciate a photorealistic scent. Next, we have Gris Dior, which is a gorgeous rose, oak moss, and patchouli blend. To me, this is Parisian chic. You could wear it year-round to any occasion. It can be a signature scent. I think it's equally unisex as well. I find that it lasts over 10 hours on my skin and it dries down to a patchouli. Next, we have Love by Chopard, and I have Claire Smith to thank for this purchase. She has spoken about this fragrance a handful of times on her channel, and I found it at a really good price, so I went and purchased it. So what is this fragrance? This fragrance is a sweet rose patchouli. I think that it's an incredibly easy rose patchouli. If you're new to rose and patchouli fragrances, I think that this is a good starting point. And I purchased it for just over $20. So, you really can't lose with the price point there. For me, it lasts about 7 to 8 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. Next, we have 34 Boulevard Saint Germain by Diptyque. This is the EDT concentration. I find this to be unisex. It is a rose patchouli with black currant up at the top. Now, I feel like it has a lavender facet to it. I'm not sure if that's listed in the notes or not, but again, this is a Parisian chic fragrance. I think it would work for almost any situation except for very hot days. I find it lasts 6 to 8 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. Next, we have Portrait of a Lady by Frederic. This is a gorgeous rose patchouli with cinnamon up at the top. It is a legend for a reason, and it stood the test of time for a reason. It's perfectly unisex. It works in cooler weather or in the evening. I find that it lasts 10 to 12 hours on my skin, and I only need a few sprays. It's a gorgeous option if you love rose patchoulis. Next, we have Bosporus Pearl. This is a beautiful rose vanilla composition. There is a little bit of violet. There is a note of jasmine tea in here, which I guess I can smell ever so slightly in the background. But for me, the main players are rose and vanilla. The staying power on this is 12 hours, and the sillage is amazing. But there's an airiness to this composition. It doesn't feel heavy to me when I wear it. It's truly a stunner, and it's pretty cool the way they do the bottles. You can see there's an image on the back there. Again, this is Bosporus Pearl. Next, I'm going to talk about Christian Dior's Ombre Nuit. Now, I just have a travel spray of this. Once I finish this, I will buy a full bottle. This is simply amber and rose. I'm sure there's many other things at play here, but to my nose, it is a amber rose, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's completely unisex, and it lasts for 10 hours on my skin with a strong sillage. It's an absolutely beautiful composition. Again, this is Ombre Nuit. Next, I have Mon Parfum Crystal by Micallef. This is a rose, caramel, and toffee composition that I find I can only wear when it's very cold outside. It's perfect for the evening, and it lasts 10 to 12 hours on my skin, and I only need a few sprays. Next, we have Maison Crivelli's Hibiscus Mahashad. Now, again, once I finish with this travel spray, I will be buying a bottle. Now, a little goes a long way with this composition. I tend to wear 2 sprays with this, and I'm set. This really works best in cooler weather or in the evening. And within the composition, there's mint, there's leather, there's hibiscus, and there's rose. It's a sweet, sweet, jammy rose. And I find this composition to be perfectly unisex. Next, we have Black Perfecto by Guerlain. This is part of the La Petite Robe Noir collection. Now, this is a gorgeous rose leather with licorice and cherry. I love this fragrance. There's something so alluring about it, yet sophisticated at the same time. I love to wear it in cooler weather in the evenings. I find this lasts about 10 hours on my skin with a softer projection. Next, we have Terra Mia by Carthusia. This is a gorgeous rose gourmand. It has coffee, it has hazelnut, it has rose. I love to wear this in the cooler weather. I find that this lasts about 10 hours on my skin, and I really only need 1 to 2 sprays. I think that this is a unisex offering if you like a gourmand rose. Next, we have 1969 by Histories de Parfums. This is a gorgeous rose gourmand composition. You have peach up at the top with a little bit of clove and cardamom, and then you have rose at the mid, and then in the base you have coffee and chocolate and patchouli. This lasts over 12 hours on my skin, and there is something so seductive and alluring about this fragrance. I absolutely love it. I tend to wear it in the colder weather. Next, we have Andy Towers, Une Rose de Kandahar. This is a very special rose fragrance. Now, this rose is grown in Pakistan. There's a very, very small yield to it. So Andy doesn't always have this in stock due to the infrequency and how small the yield is of this type of rose. It's a very, very rare rose. And this rose to me is an incredibly bright and uplifting rose. When this fragrance opens up, it starts with the rose, and as it dries down, it becomes warmer, and you start to smell a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of spice, a little bit of apricot, a little bit of almond. And then as it completely dries down, it's ever so slightly gourmand. It has like a creamy quality to it. I actually like to wear this in the warmer weather. I find it blooms better on my skin. Now, people in Fragrantica will disagree with me, but that's my personal preference. I find this lasts on me 6 to 8 hours, depending on the season and how warm it is, with a moderate projection. Next, we have Andy Towers, Sundowner. This is my favorite tobacco rose. Now, there's a lot of other notes in play here. There's cypriol, there's cinnamon, there's cacao. But to me, the predominant players are tobacco and rose. This is a unisex offering. I find that it's closer to my skin, that there isn't a lot of projection with this, and it lasts about 6 to 7 hours. Next, we have Crimson Rocks by Amouage. This is a beautiful woody rose with cinnamon and pink pepper up at the top. Now, while this is targeted to women, I think this is a unisex offering. This is a gorgeous composition that I find I really only need one spray with, and it lasts 10 to 12 hours on my skin. I absolutely love this fragrance, and I don't hear many people talking about it. And I have a few ideas why, but I think it might have to do with how dense the composition is. I really only need one spray with this, and that's all. A lot of people, struggle with cinnamon and pink pepper, and that is quite robust up at the top. So that might deter some people. However, I absolutely love this fragrance. Next, we have Cairo by Penhaligon's. This is a gorgeous unisex offering, and this is a rose with sandalwood in the base and cypriol and saffron up at the top. I find this composition lasts about 8 hours on my skin with a moderate to strong projection. I like to wear this in the cooler weather, day and night. Next, we have Jo Malone's Velvet Rose and Oud. This is an incredibly clean rose and oud. There is a little bit of cinnamon up at the top, but I barely detect it. I think if you're sensitive to cinnamon, you'll probably notice it more than I do. I think that this is a great beginner rose and oud, and it's a westernized rose and oud. It's incredibly clean, sharp. I wear it day and night, and I find it lasts 8 to 9 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. Next, we have Club de Nuit Intense. What you'll find here is an incredibly complex rose and oud. Now, at the price point they're selling this at, I don't think there's actually oud in this, but I could be wrong. But what I do find is this is an incredibly complex composition. This smells way more expensive than its price. I love to wear this in cooler weather. One spray will do me for 10 to 12 hours with a moderate to strong projection. Next, we have Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Oud Satin Mood. Now, this is a travel case because I only wear Oud Satin Mood to fancy occasions. I don't need a whole bottle. This travel case will do me. If you're not familiar with the composition, this is a rose oud with violet and vanilla. So it's sort of like a candied rose oud that's rounded out with violet. It is absolutely gorgeous. It was a love at first sniff for me. Now, you really only need 1 to 2 sprays with this, and it's going to last 10 to 12 hours on your skin. I like to wear this to a more formal evening occasion. Again, this is Oud Satin Mood. Next, we have Lancome's Oud Bouquet. This is a candied, toffee-like rose and oud. It does have toffee in the base of the pyramid, and this is an incredibly sweet composition. I find that this lasts 10 to 12 hours on my skin, and I really only need 1, 2 spray tops. This is a very fancy fragrance for me. I would really only wear this in the evenings, something formal when there's cold weather. Again, this is Oud Bouquet by Lancome. Now I'm going to finish this lineup with Epic by Amouage. This is a gorgeous rose oud patchouli fragrance, and it's named appropriately. It is epic. I fell in love with this fragrance the first time I smelled it. It is incredibly complex and nuanced. It starts with caraway, and caraway for me can be quite challenging. So I love when a fragrance has a note that I'm challenged by, and I still love it. Now, the color of the bottle is a beautiful emerald green. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but this fragrance is absolutely regal. It lasts 10 to 12 hours on my skin with a stronger projection. Again, this is Epic by Amouage. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad I was able to share my 35 rose fragrances with you. If you got any value out of this content, please remember to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to continue to see more videos like this.